South Africa's latest HIV/AIDS report, painting a positive picture of the country's fight against the epidemic. About 90% of South Africans living with HIV know their status, with 94% of them on treatment to suppress the viral load. Now, despite the progress, the report raising concerns about the prevalence of the disease among young people. I'm joined now by one such young person, an HIV-positive man and activist who's been living with this virus for about 9 years. His name is Smiso Msomi, and he talks to us from Durban this morning. Smiso, good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time. Let's begin with your journey with HIV. What age were you when you discovered that you were infected with this virus?
Good morning, colleagues, to all the listeners and viewers. Thank you for the opportunity to have me here. To answer your question, I found out when I was 21 years old, and that was my first time actually going for an HIV test. So that is when I actually discovered about my status.
Yeah, and what prompted you to go and test? And just talk to us a little bit about how you handled that news when you received it.
At that time, I think I was sexually active, and my girlfriend at that time was frequently testing. So she said to me, I must also go for an HIV test. So upon going for one, that's when I discovered. And at that time, I was fairly young. I was still 21 years old. It was quite a shock to me. I was disappointed. I was scared. I was insecure about myself. But what I can say, and I hope other people can use this, that your friends and family are key to actually supporting you and giving a lot of help.
Yeah. And you took a very brave step, and that was to come out publicly to say that you are living with this virus. And talk to us about the reaction, not just for your immediate family, but the people perhaps that know you. I'm talking about next door neighbors. I'm talking about the people that you would meet on the dating scene, because as you say, you're quite young, and I will admit it, you're also quite a looker. And so I can tell you that that would not have been a difficulty. Talk to us about that.
I can say first it was difficult because everything was internalized. I was saying all the bad things about myself, thinking that people would say the same thing.
Yeah.
So the main thing that gives us a problem is that we hear the conversations around what people say about people living with HIV, and then you think that that's the reality. But some people are just joking around about it, but it is hurtful when you are living with the situation. But for me, the reason why I wanted to come out is the reason why we keep struggling with HIV as a country is that because there's all this secrecy about it, is that everybody is hush-hush and hiding it. And that's when you get into a problem where people are dating, but they're not being honest about their status, and they're not given the room to talk about their status. And so now, this is how the virus keeps spreading, because we're all secretive about it and we're so scared to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I firmly feel if we all talk about it as a country and we say, guys, everybody must go for an HIV test, right? And whoever's discovered that they're HIV positive, get on medication. And by doing that, simply it will suppress the virus. Nobody else can get an infection because everybody who's tested is on medication. So I feel I have to lead by example in that we can't keep hiding and talking about this, making it a hush-hush problem, because this is how it continues to actually, the HIV rates keeps on increasing because we keep hiding it. So I feel that is the problem. So the minute we take away the discrimination, the minute we take away all the snotty comments and all the funny things that people usually say, I think more and more people would actually come out. And if we just treat it like any other normal flu or any other thing, we could have this thing under control. But because we are hiding it, because people don't want to talk about it, because the solution is there. We have a solution in this country. The medication is free. The testing is free. We just have to own up as a people to just say, guys, this is the problem we have in this country, and this is the solution.
Yeah.
So we can't keep hiding it. We can't keep not talking about it. Let's just put it out there. Let's take the jokes aside and just deal with the problem.
Exactly. And you have gone into some detail, Smiso, talking about your journey, particularly the immediate discovery that you were infected with HIV. You talk about how the many times that you tested, I think it was 3 times, and
Yes.
all of those tests came back positive. But strangely, your girlfriend at the time was negative. And ultimately, that relationship broke apart. I'm quite keen for you to tell the viewers your journey then, getting back on the dating scene and having to disclose to the people that you would then meet how, they reacted to you and how you dealt with that.
So let me just give you a small background. So when I first found out, I was internally discriminating myself. So I didn't tell anybody. No friends, family, nobody. And I was struggling. I was struggling a lot. But the minute I talked to my best friend, my family, everything changed because the amount of support they were giving me was so overwhelming and it was so powerful and it gave me so much of strength. So what I can say is that, firstly, for people who've just been newly diagnosed, do not hide it. Do ask for help. Do talk to friends and family. That will help you. And back to the girlfriend story. It's so weird because we think we know so much about HIV, but in actual fact, there's some things that even doctors cannot explain. Yes, the girlfriend I was dating at that time, we were having sex, unprotected sex at that time, and we were just testing she was testing. But when I went for the test, it was positive. We even went and saw an HIV specialist. But for her, it still came out negative. Till this day, she's still HIV negative. We actually share a child right now with that person. And the child is also HIV negative. But it's just that we think we know so much about it, but in actual fact, there's so many unknowns to this HIV thing. But we can't deal with what we don't know. We can work with what we do know.
Yeah.
And that's what I firmly believe. But also on the dating scene, it was quite funny that because I was internally discriminating myself, but the minute I came out to say, I'm HIV positive, the amount of people who were coming to me saying, you're so brave, it's so nice to see a powerful guy. So what I can say, my dating actually shot up instead of going down when I actually came up. It's quite funny. But also at the same time, the amount of support that I got from people, the family, the strangers, people see me on Facebook and people see me on the roads and like, hey, Smiso, how are you? We get so much of strength from you, from what you do. Please carry on doing what you're doing. People are still sending me messages till today. So it's a positive outcome. And what I've realized is that we want to deal with this problem as a people. It's just that we just have to get rid of the discrimination and the stigma around it.
Yeah. And I want us, as we taper down this interview, let's talk about what you have decided to do. And that was to go on social media to try and encourage others who may have only discovered recently that they are infected, how to live positively with it, but also importantly, Smiso, how important is it that you constantly stay on the medication? And by the way, how many pills do you take? Because my understanding is that it's not so many anymore.
Yes, let's start with the pills issue. We have one pill now, so you get one tub of pills, so 28, one pill a day. You can take it in the morning, in the afternoon. You can take it before you go out with your friends. It's really not a hinder in your life. It doesn't stop you from living your life. You can go out clubbing. You can go play sports. You can virtually do anything. You can be a professional like I am. I am an engineer, so I work. And I also have children. I've never been sick. I've never been admitted to a hospital. I've never been in a situation where HIV has hindered my life other than the term status HIV positive.
Sure.
So there is life after HIV. And that's what I want everybody else to know, that there is life after HIV. And it's not just to say that only people who are HIV positive must take care of themselves. Everybody should be taking care of themselves. All of us should be drinking water, exercising, eating healthy. But it's better when you're HIV positive to do those things because you shut out all the opportunistic infections and diseases that come with it. But to me, I've never been sick. I've never been diagnosed with TB or anything like that. So I'm fine, but I'm not saying that that's the case for everybody, but it's very, very important that you stay on your medication, because if you stay on your medication, then it means your viral load is suppressed. By your viral load being suppressed, that means you're undetectable. Being undetectable means that you cannot transmit the virus to the next person, even if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So that would, in virtual sense, end the epidemic in South Africa if all of us went and tested, and everybody that is tested is on medication. Then whatever happens afterwards, we can't continue spreading the spread of HIV. But other than that, I think we can deal with this thing as a country. I think the solutions are out there. It's just that up to the individuals now, and also the psyche, the discrimination and stigma that is attached to it. If we can deal with that, I think everything would be sorted.
You know, I made the example this morning, just before coming on air, talking to a colleague, that if all of us viewed being HIV positive not so much in the same way as being diagnosed with cancer, because the actual opposite is the truth, actually, because a number of people I've seen close friends dying because of cancer, and yet people forget that HIV is not a death sentence, and that is exactly how you actually begin to tell your story, because you say when you were 21, you thought this was it. Life had ended for you as you knew it. But let's end it on a positive note, because I'm aware you are a father of 2, but there's also another important development in your life. You're engaged.
Yes, I was actually engaged, but let's not talk about that so much. But what I can tell people is that there is life after HIV. I am fairly healthy. I have children, because I know a lot of people are thinking that if you're HIV positive, you cannot have children. I have 2 beautiful girls, and I just had a 3rd child. So you can have children. You can have a professional career like I am. You can live a healthy life. You can have friends. You can date. You can go job hunting. You can pursue your business. Whatever dreams and aspirations that you have, it's real. It's there. You can do it.
Yeah.
And HIV shouldn't be something that can hinder you. And I like the example that you made, that cancer is on the opposite spectrum. If you diagnose with cancer, there's little chance that you might make it. But with HIV, I know so many people who are older than me, people who also mentored me, who've been living with the virus for over 30 years, some people 40 years. So in actual sense, your life doesn't have to stop. You know, we just have to be responsible enough to go for the testing, to adhere to our medication, and to just live a healthy, normal life.
Yeah. Smiso, piece of advice, particularly to young people. Yes, there is positive news that we were told recently that the rates of infection are coming down, although not significantly. But where the problem area remains is with young people, particularly, I think, the phenomenon of sugar daddies. What would your advice be, particularly, I think, to older men who knowingly go out there and infect young people who still have a life ahead of them?
Basically, I don't want to get into what people do after hours, but it would be nice if all of us could be responsible, because this is trickling down to the next generation. Now, I'm a father. I don't want my kids to grow up having to fear the same things that we had to grow up with, that my big brothers and my fathers had to deal with. I mean, we kind of have to stop and end the cycle now. So it's going to be an effort that everybody is required to come into. So number 1 is, guys, please go and test. Number 2, if you are positive, get on medication, stay on medication. Number 3, we end all infections if we do that. But also, secondly, as the older guys, they have to just stop being predators and just take care of the young ones, because that's the next generation. That's the next generation, the next legacy of us. So we have to protect them, and we have to take care of them.
Smiso Msomi, thank you very much for the positive thoughts, and continue inspiring many young people. And just live your life. Thank you very much. And you look indeed very, very healthy. I wouldn't be able to tell Smiso is living with the virus, but that's because he is living positively about it, but also importantly, as he emphasizes, just don't stop with the medication. Be religious about it.